Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to explain how would you use GitHub Copilot, whether you are an experienced developer or even you are getting started in your coding journey. It's very essential to understand GitHub Copilot and how can you use these AI-powered tools. In the upcoming videos, we are going to use C# as our preferred syntax, but the main goal here is to focus on the GitHub Copilot features and how can you use it as a developer, how can you use it as a student. Before we dive deep into the GitHub Copilot feature, in today's video, I'm going to help you set up the prerequisites, things like how to install the GitHub account, how would you enable your GitHub Copilot license, and how would you install VS Code and install the extensions that is needed for GitHub Copilot and C# dev kit. Ready to make GitHub Copilot your comfortable zone? Let's get started. All right, let's install the prerequisites of GitHub Copilot. Normally, if you go into any tutorial for GitHub Copilot, they will normally talk about what is GitHub Copilot, how to use it, and so on. For me, I will excite you first. So let's set up the the prerequisites for today, create a GitHub account, create enable GitHub Copilot for free. And then, in the upcoming videos, we will talk about what it is and how it works and so on. But just to give you some context, normally people hear a lot of words like Copilot, right? Or GitHub Copilot, and then you see Copilot for M365 and so on. So, in a very simple, definition, GitHub Copilot is a software as a service product. So it's a SaaS product. If you remember back in the days when we talk about the cloud computing services, let me just load my PPT here. As you can see, we have this is a very popular one, and I have actually already discussed what does it mean before. But normally when it comes to cloud computing, when you are migrating from on-premises to the cloud, there are three offerings that you can leverage from any cloud service, starting from IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So this is on-premises, which means is that the orange here, it's your responsibility. So from on-premises, you will be responsible for everything from the underlying hardware to the hardware renewal, refreshment, fault hardware issues, updating the software, managing the hypervisor and everything till the application backup, disaster recovery, and everything. When you move to the cloud, you will have these these options, and I've explained this in details if you go back to the Azure Beginner Path playlist. But you will have the IaaS, which is basically I want to use a virtual machine. Maybe I want to use managed service in Azure, like the platform as service, things like Azure SQL, storage accounts, Azure AI Foundry, and so on. And then you have software as service. The most common product is Microsoft 365, Teams, Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, and so on. This is very, very well known. That's mean I don't manage anything. I just use the service. All right. Now, why I'm showing this today? First is, if I think about it, if I want to install a SQL Server database, right, I have many options when it comes to the cloud. I can install it on an Azure virtual machine, or even on a container, or even I can move to the platform as a service, which is the Azure SQL at this stage. So here I have to maintain the database, I have to secure the database, install security, do a high availability, backup the database and everything. I'm only offloading the underlying hardware responsibility to Microsoft. When you have the platform as a service here, basically you want we will take over, or Microsoft will take over the operating system access, and then to start to take some responsibility about the database updates, OS security, all of this kind of stuff, and just you bring your own database and take care of it. Manage the keys, enable or disable the firewall, stuff like that. There are some responsibilities on you, but the hard part of managing the database and high availability and so on will fall or will be Microsoft responsibility. And then software as a service here, again, something like Microsoft 365. It's the same thing. If I don't know where is the Exchange servers. I don't know where's Teams. I just create an account and use the service. Now, this is just some marketing stuff. I only want to show you one thing here. Okay, so the AI or the Microsoft Copilot stack is the same way. So there is like when it comes to building agents, you have many ways to do that. First is that you could launch a Linux or a container virtual machine, or container or like Linux VM, and then bring your own model like Llama or Mistral or like NVIDIA models, and then you look after the model, you control everything from scratch, maybe fine tune it to do whatever, and then you ship that like in your environment, so in an Azure environment. So you only want to use the GPU infrastructure from Microsoft Azure, which is huge. Or you could, if you don't want to deal with all of this, and of course you have the Microsoft Agent Framework, like that you can leverage today, or even any other framework or SDK that you would like to use. And then you have the Azure AI Foundry, which is the Microsoft, started with OpenAI in the beginning as a partnership. So we were or Microsoft were the first vendor who got exclusive partnership with OpenAI, which means is that you only get access to the models either from Microsoft or OpenAI. And the beauty about this is that you can control the region, you can control the data access, lower latency, you can leverage Microsoft Entra ID, you have a lot of great stuff, and you can build your deployment, your agents, and so on. AI Foundry today got over more than 11,000 models that you can use and leverage today. If I don't really know how to build my custom agents, like maybe I want to use here Anthropic models like Claude or maybe OpenAI, or I want to use Llama or Mistral or Grok or whatever the model here. If I don't want to deal with that complexity and then connect to Azure AI Search and then do RAG and stuff like that, I can use the Copilot stack ecosystem. So Copilot is the software as a service. It's not a one product. So when they reference Copilot here, there is Copilot for Azure, there is Copilot for Microsoft 365, which you can see it on Outlook, on the Office suite, Copilot agent for Excel, Copilot agent for Copilot for Word, Copilot for PowerPoint, and so on. And there is the general Copilot that you can ask questions about it. There is Copilot for Azure, as I mentioned, like it's embedded within Azure. You can ask questions about Azure itself and so on. There is GitHub Copilot. So this is what we are targeting today. This is a product specifically for developers. And it's an AI pair programmer, basically. So instead of you just switch multiple, like maybe you have your ChatGPT or whatever, and then you have your source code on a different, or maybe like hosted on your DevOps repository, or stored locally on your, in your computer. You're gonna be switching and then copy, the context of that code, and then go and paste it, and then ask it to rewrite and stuff like that. So now, the beauty about GitHub Copilot is actually now embedded within your project, basically. So it understands context, it understands a lot of stuff. It's deeply integrated into Visual Studio and deeply integrated also in your GitHub account. Okay. There is also Copilot for security. There's many different Copilots. So Copilot is just a big umbrella of the software as a service brand that is shipped by Microsoft. That's it. This is what I just wanted to show you here. So now let's first, before I dive deep into the upcoming videos, let's actually I've created a Gmail account here, which is Mo SA807. This is just a test account. I've already have a GitHub Enterprise license. I just want to show you here, if you're a beginner or you want to know how I will do demo, or I will demo this in my Visual Studio Code, then you just can follow this and then set up GitHub for free. So the first step is you need to sign up for GitHub account. So what you can do is just go here and then click on continue with Google or any other account, and then I will select my account. So this is gonna be my my country. I live in Ireland, so I'll select Ireland and then create. Let me just solve the puzzle and come back to you. Solving this puzzle is quite confusing, just to make sure that you are not a robot. So let me verify. And I think now, okay, I'm good. So here I have a, like, you know, my GitHub account is set up and all good. So if I go here and I take a look here at under Copilot settings from the top right here, you should find this. Then here you can just click on start using Copilot for free. Okay. So there are a lot of plans, and I will deeply explain this on the next video, but there is GitHub Copilot for free. There is GitHub Copilot for student, which means give you the unlimited features. So if you are a student, you can actually have the premium GitHub Copilot. There is GitHub Copilot Pro. There is Pro Plus. There is also for businesses and enterprise. My license got all the features, so I'm on the enterprise plan, which got also the premium requests, which we also will talk about it as well. But if you take a look here, this is going to be the comparison and how much you're going to pay per month. So this is not normally it's a monthly fee. So the GitHub Copilot Pro, it's $10. It's $39 for Pro Plus, and then for businesses $19, and then enterprise $39. And then it will show you here how many premium requests, which again I will talk about it later on because it's quite confusing. But you can see you will get pretty much access to, like, you know, more features like agentic mode, like, you know, MCP, third-party agents. Basically, like, you know, if you would like to use Claude or Gemini Pro and so on, GitHub Copilot got all of them. So you can see here, this is the available model, and then here is showing you, like, you know, the different feature, the different licenses that when you pay. So you can see GitHub Copilot for free pretty much is going to get the Claude 4.5. and also OpenAI models. That's it, like GPT 4.1. And I think, yeah, OpenAI, GPT Many, and so on. But the rest, you won't be able to get Codex, you won't be able to get all of this. So you have to upgrade, either if you're a student, you can, like, you know, get that for free, or you have to upgrade to Pro. So all of this, we'll talk about it, but I just wanted to let you know that you can just use Copilot for free. And even if you are following my demos in the upcoming videos, if you don't see a specific feature, sometime it's not because of you or you have done something wrong, but it could be like you don't have that covered in your features. Okay. This is just I wanted to highlight here. Now let me go back here, and then I will just click on start using Copilot for free. And now here we go. If I say test, then I should be able to, like, you know, to see that GitHub Copilot is working. It's a bit slower, of course, but I'm just showing you here, like, you know, that it's up and running, working. Now we want to use that in my, like, you know, in my, let's say we're gonna talk about C#, and I want to start coding in my VS Code. So I want to have that agent or that chat experience within my VS Code. So what I need to do is to go ahead and download VS Code in my local machine. So VS Code is basically a lightweight open source, like, you know, code editor that you can use. Also, it's available on Visual Studio as well and other code editors. But for me, I am just pretty much familiar with Visual Studio Code, so you can just use whatever you want. But I will just download VS Code and then install it on my local machine. Accept, next, create a desktop icon, whatever, and then we will have a VS Code. So again, all of this already pre-installed in my other machine. I'm just on a virtual machine in a cloud, but I just wanted to show you the experience of how can you get started with GitHub Copilot. So let me pause the recording, and then I will come back. All right, the installation finished successfully. So as I mentioned, it's a lightweight, like, you know, code editor, which means is that these stuff are not, like, you know, are not enabled by default, right? However, you can see here, it's actually updates are not available when running user. Oh, okay. Let me just, okay, that's new, because now it used to be like, you know, when you install Visual Studio Code, you have to install the like, you know, GitHub Copilot extension, but it seems that it's now pre-built or it's coming with Visual Studio Code, the newer versions. But normally, if you don't have that, you need just to download this from Extensions tab here. So you go under Extensions and then go ahead and find GitHub Copilot. Okay, so as you can see, this one, you only need to install this one. It used to be multiple extensions. So extensions just giving extra capability, like if you need them. And also we need the C# dev kit as well, because we're gonna use C#. This is not for GitHub Copilot, but this is just C# dev kit. This is just to let Visual Studio Code how to interact or how to deal with C#. So we want to enable that capability as well. But you can see here, you can read about it. C#, dev kit lets you manage code within the Solution Explorer, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I would just say here, mark done. And then once you're done with installing these two guys, you should be able to find, let me just maybe zoom in a little bit here. Yeah. So once you installed both like these guys, then you can just sign in to your GitHub account. So what you would do, sign in to use AI features. So I will click here, and then I will say continue with GitHub account. It will go ahead and then continue with my newly created GitHub account, and then boom, I am good to go. Now I have a full chat experience that I can leverage today. Okay, so like this is the first part. Again, like if you want to see, let me just try to hide this. Yeah. So if you want to, like from the top here, you will see, this is how you open the chat. So this is the toggle chat. There is many ways to deal or interact with GitHub Copilot, and we will see that, but I just wanted to show you that as well. But you can see here, there are three modes. The agentic mode, this is, I'm telling GitHub Copilot, go and do something. There's also things like maybe connect to my Azure cloud, write this code, all of this kind of stuff. It will use the agentic capability, so it start to modify into your source code. There is the ask mode, which is basically if you want to maybe know, like we're learning about C#, we're gonna do a lot of ask mode as well. So just explain this syntax to me, blah, 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 and so on. There is the plan mode. So if you would like to give it more context, then you can actually do that as well. And then you have the configure custom agent. As I mentioned, not everything is available to you here, but I just wanted to show you that as well as a starter. The second is, if you go or hover over into the settings here, you will see there is the GitHub Copilot instructions. This is where we're just gonna say, like, I want you to or generate certain instructions, or even download it from the internet. But basically, maybe I'm learning C#. I will show you also my example, and I want you to help me, explain every single code. Give me examples, why we're using it, what's the best way, and so on. Then not just only generating code, but also explaining to me what's happening. So that's also instructions. You can do a lot with in the real project, define specific architecture, or maybe give it specific skills and stuff like that. We will talk about all of this because there's skills, there is a lot. Okay, so there's also open source skills that you can get from the internet and then put it in your repository. But for now, I just want to excite you how good is GitHub Copilot as well. And also, this is not the only way to chat to your GitHub Copilot. There's also the / commands that you can leverage, which we will talk about. What is at workspace or create new workspace. So all of this, we're gonna talk about it as well. So one last thing is we are going to use .NET. So what you need to do is to download the .NET SDK, because if you have Visual Studio, you can also sign in to Visual Studio as well, and then use GitHub Copilot and do the same examples as Visual Studio Code. But since Visual Studio Code doesn't know about C#, so you also have to download the .NET SDK so that it will be able to run the CLI commands, and it will be able to compile, to do all of this kind of stuff. So as you can see, .NET Core is now open source and cross-platform. Like, what does it mean is basically I can develop desktop application for Mac, Windows, or Linux. I can develop for cloud. I can develop for websites. I can develop for the the artificial intelligence. We will see also the Microsoft Agent Framework SDK as well. So there's a lot of stuff you can see here. Build smart apps with C#, OpenAI, and Azure. You can build front end, back end. You can build APIs and a lot. So it's really one sentence for all. And why I am using this, again, for me personally, I used to also, I'm not like a pro developer, but I used to demo this for my customers. And normally, for artificial intelligence, Python is the best way to use it for working with artificial intelligence and so on. But Microsoft also brought this capability into C#. So if you're dealing with LangChain, you have C# support. If you're dealing with Microsoft Agent Framework, you have C# support. So the beauty about this is, to demo anything for my customers, I had to build the front end. Now, if you know Python, you have to know maybe another language as well to invest in, and then learn React and so on. But with .NET framework, you just learn one syntax, which is C#, and then you just can pretty much build anything. You want to build the back end, you want to build the APIs, you want to build a front end and a website, then it's very easy to do so. Now, let me just download this SDK for me here, and then I will just run the installer, and then we should be good to go. Double click, install. If you have Visual Studio, so the .NET SDK is going to be installed by default, but since we are not using Visual Studio, so you have to download that SDK as well if you want to develop from CLI. One bonus thing is also, if you want to use also Copilot CLI, which is also a new feature that was coming. So if you go here, there is something called Copilot CLI. If I go here, it depends on your operating system. You can click on the GitHub documentation here, and then you can see that these are the ways to install GitHub Copilot. So I will just copy this. This is also for your terminal, all right? So you can just copy this and then install it right here. So I will do winget install GitHub Copilot, and then it will go ahead and download that one. So if I say yes, then now I will have Copilot in my terminal, which makes it more powerful. So for people who want to run Azure commands, or maybe want to learn the syntax, how to use PowerShell and so on. So all of this are also available within the Copilot CLI, and it's also available within the VS Code CLI as well. So you can use it both ways. So now it's downloading this for me, and then once it's successfully created, then I just can use the command Copilot, and then it will load Copilot inside the actual Azure, inside the PowerShell itself. So I think I need to just close this and then open it again. Let me just try again. Just type Copilot. As you can see, welcome to GitHub Copilot. And now it's see my user, c/user/fonto. And then if you are in a specific folder, you want to know something about it. So I will just say, okay. The first thing that's going to ask you here, do you want to trust? Let me just minimize this so that you're not confused. But here it's telling you, do you want to trust this folder? Maybe you want to ask questions about this folder. So you click on yes. And then would you like to add this as a key binding to your terminal configuration? Yeah, that's fine. And then here we go. You can now chat with GitHub Copilot. So you can say, hello, how can I install Azure CLI in my terminal? Oh, I need to log in. Okay, so I forgot to log in. So please use login or /login. So let me just log in and then github.com. This is just to fetch your license as well. So if you have enterprise license, then you will have many more features as well. I have the enterprise one, but I'm just showing you again that you have all of these capabilities that you can leverage today as well in GitHub CLI. So now it's waiting for authorization. I think just let me click here and then continue. Okay, then I will go back here. I'll copy the code. Okay, let's just copy it manually. D9 3470F0. Then I click on continue. I'm authorizing my CLI, and now all is good. So press any key to continue, and then I should be good to go. So continue. Hello Copilot. So now it's thinking, and they're just saying hello Copilot, blah blah blah. So now I can start to chat. So how can maybe can you install the Azure CLI in my terminal? It will go ahead and do that for you. So do you want to run this command? Yes. And then now it will go ahead and install that for you. So now the terminal has become very easy, right? So it will go ahead and install the run command for you, and then or it will download the Azure CLI for you, and then you will have the Azure CLI. You can leverage it and use it. It's very powerful. I highly recommend to test it out. Again, we will talk about this as well, but I just wanted to let you know that GitHub Copilot is not only on VS Code, but it's also on your terminal. You can use it on both in Visual Studio Code and your PowerShell command. I hope this video was useful for you. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.